Welcome to the Besties with Breasties podcast. Sarah Hall here. I am a certified health and wellness coach, athletic trainer, mom, and breast cancer survivor. I help women overcome their own mind drama to make mind shifts that open up the possibility for their most empowered and energetic life.
And I am Beth Wilmus, author, speaker, and founder of a human investment organization, otherwise known as a nonprofit, called Faith Through Fire. Our mission is to reduce the fear and anxiety that breast cancer patients feel and replace it with hope and a path toward thriving.
This podcast is about our experiences with breast cancer
and life after as young survivors and moms. All right. Today, we are talking with one of my favorite people. I'm very excited about it. Amy is who's our guest today, and she is an oncology social worker. So oncology social workers help patients and their families cope with the emotional and social aspects of an illness and in cancer treatment. So they might provide individual counseling, help reduce barriers to care, or provide assistance with things like transportation and insurance coverage. So today, we're going to be talking to Amy Meyer, who's a social worker with St. Luke's Hospital in St. Louis. We're going to talk about all aspects of a cancer diagnosis besides the physical, right?
Yep. And then we're going to talk to Amy about what she sees in her work as a social worker and the role respite can play in a cancer journey.
Oh my gosh, so important. I cannot wait to dive into this.
Yeah.
And finally, we'll probably talk about the benefits of being in nature and our new exciting partnership with Innsbrook Resort in Innsbrook, Missouri to build a respite house for breast cancer patients. But before we talk to Amy, let's hear from our first sponsor. Hair loss is consistently ranked as one of the most feared side effects of chemotherapy treatment. The emotional impact chemo hair loss can have on patients has been well documented. Scalp cooling is a simple treatment that can prevent hair loss caused by certain chemotherapy drugs. The use of scalp cooling is proven to be effective in preventing chemotherapy-induced alopecia and can result in people retaining much of their hair. Paxman is the global leader in scalp cooling. Their cold cap is scientifically proven to reduce hair loss during chemotherapy. If you are facing cancer treatment and concerned about losing your hair, ask your provider about scalp cooling and visit our website at www.coldcap.com.
All right. Welcome, Amy. Thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me.
I was thinking about this as we were preparing for this episode, Amy. Do you remember the first time we met? I'm putting you on the spot. Do you remember? I know you meet with a lot of nonprofits, so.
I feel like it's at a meeting. It's been so long ago.
You're right. It was a meeting. So we met at St. Luke's. At that time, I was making the rounds with all the hospitals, trying to gain support for Faith Through Fire's programming. And I don't know, we've kind of become friends over time, but you were an early adopter of embracing our mission, which is to reduce the fear and anxiety that breast cancer patients feel and replace it with hope and a path toward thriving. What I remember about you is that I didn't need to convince you that this was important. And I think that that's because you deal with actual patients. So
right.
I think a lot of times...
Well, wait, the doctors don't deal with actual patients?
Well, I'm not talking about doctors. I mean, usually like when I'm talking to hospitals, I'm talking to administrative staff. But the people like that are on the front lines with patients, like doctors, nurses, social workers, they get it right away.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't take any additional convincing is my point.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times people think that if you get cancer, it's all about the physical journey. But Amy, you know more than anybody that it's way more complicated, than that.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it goes well beyond the scope of the physical problems. And that is one of the first things that we do when a patient comes in is we assess them with a distress screening because we're looking at practical problems such as childcare, housing, insurance, the financial concerns that individuals have. I mean, that's like the biggest thing that people have when they first come in. How am I going to pay for this? Who's going to pay for this? How am I going to afford this?
And I think it's important to note that Faith Through Fire is really focused on the emotional aspects of this, but these problems that you're mentioning all relate to how somebody feels emotionally, right?
For sure.
If you have barriers to care.
Because these things can create huge emotional distress for someone if they aren't able to take care of these things. Mm-hmm. I mean, it can have a huge emotional impact.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm interested too, because we see patients that kind of hit that wall during treatment. Is that something that you see in your work as well, where they kind of hit that mental wall and then they're more susceptible to anxiety or depression?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I just did an assessment yesterday for a suicidal patient. So, I mean, that's very common. People that come to me with suicidal ideation, depression. So we deal with that on a daily basis. I mean, I'm constantly assessing people for depression and making referrals for supportive counseling in the community, because that becomes a huge problem for a lot of our patients.
Yeah. I think that's like really when people want to know the impact that nonprofits have in partnering with the hospitals, this is where it's at. I mean, when you are, identifying patients that need these extra resources, like you said, hospitals are only going to have so much available to the patient. And so it's really important to have good relationships with your area nonprofits so that you can make those early referrals and get those people support as soon as possible. And I think that's, in part why you and I connected really well, is that I know you're a huge advocate for your patients and you're always trying to find the resource that best meets their individualized need, which is for me just such it's so important.
It's nice to find the people that understand the mission.
Right. It is, right. Absolutely. And when I talk to the patient, I want to have that resource in my back pocket immediately. So when I'm talking with them, I can say to them, hey, I know this resource that's available. Would you be interested? Mm-hmm. So I'm not coming back to them a week or 2 weeks later. So I'm actually, advocating for them and giving them that information right then and there. Mm-hmm. And informing them. And so they have that information right away instead of waiting several weeks down the road.
People don't realize this, or I think sometimes large entities don't realize this, that people, yes, they need services, but really what they need is people.
Yeah.
It's all about that. It's all about that connection, right? Mm-hmm. And then the connection facilitates the education and it facilitates the services. Mm-hmm. But when you're just trying to basically, throw services at somebody or educate them, but you're not connecting with people, mm-hmm. Do you feel like that's a miss? I feel like it's a miss. I feel like you're not going to really help that person unless you're connecting on a personal level. And I know that, that's really important to you, is to establish those relationships.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think first and foremost, establishing rapport with patients is so critical.
Yeah. You don't always know what you need when you're going through it, especially when you're hit with a diagnosis you've never had before until you need it. And when you need it, it's nice to know that those people have already offered up their relationship, the services, even if they don't take you up on it right away.
Well, so, right. If you trust your provider or your social worker, you're going to go to them when you identify that need and say, what was that service you talked about?
Right,
or,
exactly.
You're going to be that conduit to them getting those services. I want to kind of like circle back to that wall that we hit during treatment, because it relates to where we're heading with this episode, which is our new initiative and just the importance of respite. But before we kind of dive into that, you guys want to do boobs in the news really quick?
For sure.
Oh, okay.
That's like my favorite.
That's your favorite part. That's everybody's favorite part. Everybody loves boobs in the news.
She saved a special boobs in the news for you, Amy, too.
Well, no, I just thought it was. I thought it was interesting. It's not so much like usually it's stupid people, right? But like this time,
rude.
That what?
Yeah.
I mean, that's why we're calling them boobs.
Yeah.
But this time, this is just kind of an interesting story, and I wanted your guys' take on it. So, Boobs in the News is a fun segment where we read funny tweets by real people or ridiculous news stories. Boobs in the News is brought to you by Pink Perfect. pink-perfect.com. Pink Perfect provides silicone prosthetic nipples for women who have undergone mastectomy and breast reconstruction with nipple removal. Visit pink-perfect.com and use promo code FaithThroughFire to receive $25 off your purchase.
Bibs in the news, bibs in the news, bibs in the news.
Okay, so again, this is like a little bit different, but I thought this story was interesting because my husband and I disagreed on this. So I want to know what you girls think.
Okay.
So heart surgery patient receives a $1 million lottery ticket and get well card.
Okay, heart surgery. Okay.
So a Massachusetts man who underwent open heart surgery received a lottery ticket inside a get well card from a friend, and it was $1 million winner.
Did they already know it was going to be the $1 million winner? Or
why would they know that?
Did they pre-scratch it?
No.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm asking like logistical questions.
I was just going to say, now we have to go to the topic of, do you pre-scratch your scratchers tickets before you give them to people?
Like, is this a good gift or no?
I mean, because that's going to make you look like a jerk, Sarah.
Well, I know. Well,
is it a winner?
The way that you read that was like they knew it was a winner already.
No.
Okay.
No.
Carry on.
Oh my gosh, that totally derailed
Maybe
fast.
I'm the boob. Okay,
I think we have a winner. Okay, no. So basically this guy went through surgery and his friend, people do that. They'll give a card with a scratcher ticket on it. So his friend gave him the card and it ended up being $1 million. My question to my husband was, if a friend gives you $1 million, are you going to cut them in a little bit?
For sure.
That's what I said. Amy, would you cut them in?
Absolutely.
Okay. My husband was like, well, it's a gift. Like, you don't. And I'm like, Gary, I'm like, you wouldn't give the guy that gave you a ticket for $1 million, you wouldn't cut him in a little bit of that? So this guy ended up taking, the interesting part about this was that he ended up taking it as a full lump sum. So he ended up with $650,000 before taxes, but they make no mention of the friend that gave it to him or their relationship or if he shared it, which makes me think that he did not.
Yeah, I mean, he might have. You don't even know that he might have donated that all to a charity somewhere.
Yeah, it doesn't say that. That would have been the headliner. I just thought it was interesting.
What a lucky guy.
I know. I just thought it was interesting that my husband's like, no, I think that's a gift. Like you don't take back part of your.
So now are we deciding if Gary's a boob or you're a boob?
I mean, I'm going to say Gary and you are boobs. Gary for not being generous, and then
me for thinking he got a already scratched lottery ticket.
Right. Sarah for scratching the tickets before she gives them to people.
All right, that's your boobs in the news.
Oh my gosh.
Bibs in the news, bibs in the news, bibs in the news.
All right, I want to talk about the wall. I alluded to it before, but I think it's such a real deal. Sarah, did you hit a wall during treatment?
My wall didn't happen during treatment.
Okay, your
my
wall was
happened
afterward.
right after. Yeah.
I mean, when I say wall, I'm not talking like full on meltdown like you and I had later. I'm saying like you're just tired. You're sick of the treatments. You're just like, when is this going to be over?
You know, I say that, but we had our family vacation that happened right after. Well, so I ended my chemo at the beginning of July, and we had our family vacation like 2 weeks later.
Okay, so you had respite.
Yeah, so I had respite.
Okay. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm giving away the punchline early.
Right. I mean, I personally think that taking a break away from treatment is very important. And I'll get into a little bit about that. But Amy, what do you think? Like when patients are going through this, how important do you think it is for sometimes for them to just have a pause and be able to like focus on life again?
Oh, I think it's very important. I mean, you know, when a woman's diagnosed with cancer, life doesn't stop. Mm-hmm. You know, they're expected to continue to go through treatment, raising their family, taking care of their children, going to work. I mean, none of those things stop. And so having that moment just to pause and recharge and reset and reconnect with their family is so critical.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that brings up a very important point. So the whole reason that I found this out was because my husband surprised me with a weekend getaway at the height of chemo, which I was very apprehensive. I'm thinking, what is this going to be like? You know, mm-hmm. And I have joked about it that it was one of the best vacations we've ever had. It was like during a heat wave. We were both bald. It was hysterical, but it was so restorative. And I just remember thinking every woman should have this opportunity. But the fact is that not every mm-hmm. woman will have the opportunity for mm-hmm. respite. There are lots of people who cannot afford to go away or have a weekend getaway. And that bothered me. I hate the idea that we don't have equal access to care for all patients. And respite's one of those things where you think, oh, that's a nice to have, not a need to have. But I would argue the opposite. I think it's absolutely critical if you want to preserve your mental well-being and reduce that risk of depression and anxiety mm-hmm. to have that. And
do you think we should maybe define respite?
Yeah. You think we've been talking about this whole time and somebody's like, I don't know.
What the heck is respite?
Okay, go for it. What's respite?
Okay, so respite is defined as a short period of rest or relief from something difficult or unpleasant. So, I mean, I would say that cancer definitely falls in there.
Yeah, I think we can all agree.
So, Beth, why don't you explain, because I think this is a really fun story, where this idea came from for you?
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of already alluded to the fact that you went on a trip, but
right.
You know, I remember you calling me and telling me about this idea.
Yeah. So, I mean, my husband and I went on this trip. It was great. It was so restorative. Oh my gosh, it was so great. And when I thought about that, like, okay, I want every woman to have this. That was before Faith Through Fire had even become a thought in my mind. So flash forward and I start Faith Through Fire and we have our programs and it's all going well. And then we just started seeing that, you know, especially at the height of COVID, the isolation, you know, added an mm-hmm. additional piece to what everybody was going through, mm-hmm. which is the reason we started the podcast, was because women were going into the clinical setting with limited emotional support. The whole medical care landscape was changing, mm-hmm. not due to anything that they could help, mm-hmm. but the isolation was there. And I just started thinking, oh my gosh, you know, and we were seeing so many patients in our mentor program that would reach that point in the journey where they're like, I don't know if I can keep doing this.
Yeah. I'm
just tired. I'm still, to Amy's point, I'm trying to juggle my kids, my job, my cancer treatments, and they were just hitting that wall. And I just remember thinking, this is the point where I want to reach out and say, you know what, pack your bags. You're going away on a little trip, you know, with your husband or by yourself or however you want to do it. This is the point where I want to extend that invite, and I can't. And I thought, well, how can I change that? And that's really when I started thinking seriously, well, what if we built a respite house, a getaway for these patients to take that break, to get that respite? I think I called Sarah up as I was like walking the neighborhood one day, and I was like, hey, let's build a respite house.
And my first response was, I'm always the optimist. Like, this is a great idea, or let's do this. I was like, that's probably more like a 5-year plan.
Yeah. And you're right. Usually you're like, yeah, let's do it. And this time you're like, well, yeah, I think it's great. Like, maybe for the future. And I was like, or now.
Or now.
Or now. We could do it now. I want to talk specifically about the need for respite specific to the St. Louis metro area where we live, because breast cancer accounts for 1/3 of all cancers diagnosed in Missouri. It's the second leading cause of death in the state. And on top of that, Washington University, which is right here in St. Louis, their researchers identified 80 counties in the U.S. with the highest breast cancer mortality rates, and 9 of them are in Missouri.
Shocking statistic.
Wow.
Yeah, 9 of them are in Missouri. 37% of Missourians reside in rural counties where access to quality care is more difficult. I just felt like this is something that St. Louis needs. And yeah, we could wait, but why wait, right?
Yeah.
I think, too, talking about the rural piece, because that's in cancer care in particular, and Amy, you can probably speak to this. There's a lot of concern about people in the rural areas having access to supports and resources and, you know, treatment even. Like, treatment is like what people get scared about the most, right? Do they have access to proper cancer care treatment? But then additionally, all those supports and resources that Amy's talking about that she refers patients to, they're just harder to find in rural communities. So there's a lot of talk about how rural areas are underdeveloped and have less resources, but rural areas offer something that can be very healing to cancer patients, and that's exposure
to nature.
To nature, right? And I don't know about you guys, like, I'm a total nature lover. Are you guys?
Yep. I grew up on a farm.
Okay. So you've always been about nature.
I grew up on a farm too.
Yeah, girl.
Oh, we got two farm girls.
You're
on
the
here.
outnumbered one, Beth.
I was gonna say, now we're showing our rural.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I grew up walking barefoot across the farm.
Okay. All right.
Me too. I'm an Iowa farm girl.
Yes.
Oh, Iowa,
Yeah.
where all the good soil is.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so both of you guys grew up in farms, and that translates to your life now. I know it does for you, Amy. We're going to dive into that in a minute because you actually are a big piece of what we're doing now. Yeah, I find nature super relaxing.
For sure.
Like when in the summertime, we go camping and boating almost every other weekend. And my favorite part about where we go is that there is no cell reception.
Yes. You call me and you're like, anything you got to tell me before I go off the grid.
Right. And I love it because otherwise I would be totally glued to my phone, even in nature.
Yeah.
So it just automatically it puts me in that mindset of being able to relax and reset and not think about anything else.
Yep.
And I don't think that we can underestimate the impact. Can you?
No, absolutely not.
There is a growing body of research too. I think there's like 1,000 studies that show that exposure to the natural world has a beneficial impact on health. I mean, Sarah, like, think about it. It reduces stress, right?
Mm-hmm. Promotes healing.
Yep. There was even a study of like 20,000 people. Who led that?
The European Center for Environmental and Human Health. Oh my gosh, that's a mouthful.
Yeah, at a university there. It showed that individuals who spent 2 hours a week in green spaces were substantially more likely to report good health and psychological well-being than those who don't.
Mm-hmm.
And these effects were the same regardless of occupation, ethnic group, financial means, those with chronic illnesses, all of that.
You know, because putting your bare feet to the ground, it doesn't matter whether you have $10 in the bank or $10,000 in the bank, or it doesn't matter, you know, what color of skin you have or what you're going through in your life. Like, the air you breathe is still the same. The effects of the grass on your feet, like, it's all the same.
There's also a study too that shows that natural scenes has increased recovery rates in hospital patients versus like urban.
What do you mean? Like nature scenes, like on a
like putting flowers and pictures in hospital rooms instead
like
of having cityscapes.
Outside of the infusion center. And a lot of hospitals are doing things like that, like healing gardens. And I know you'll see it at some of the other hospitals, They have healing gardens. But they said that several of the studies that I've read, that it reduces like the physiological effects of stress It also increases the recovery rates for patients who are able to view natural scenery versus like urban settings, or like looking at the top of like a parking lot versus like looking at a woodland area.
Huh, interesting.
So I'm saying this because I don't think we can emphasize enough how important it is for patients to get away.
Yeah.
And specifically, I mean, we're big nature lovers, so we think it's important for nature.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about
what are we doing?
Yeah,
I
what
feel
are
like
we doing?
We've led it all up to this.
I know. What are we doing and why is it important, and who did we identify as the perfect partner?
Yeah.
Okay, so Innsbrook Resort is in Innsbrook, Missouri, right? Which is about 45 minutes west of St. Louis. And when I was trying to figure out where would be an ideal place to build a respite house, there was some boxes to tick, right? Like we wanted nature. We wanted a body of water.
Yep.
I go to the lake all the time, and I find water to be incredibly healing.
Yep.
So lakes were important. We wanted activities.
For families.
Right.
Yep.
Right. And yeah, fun activities, both physical, like kayaking or golf, but also
Hiking, walking.
concerts and things like that. So anyway, it didn't take me long to figure out, what would be great is Innsbrook Resort, because these patients are still within 45 minutes of St. Louis and they have exposure to all these things, and it's right in our backyard. And so I reached out to Innsbrook and asked for a meeting, and much to my delight, they agreed to meet with Sarah and I. And I mean, was that not a fun meeting?
Oh, it was so fun. I think we both left and we like looked at each other and we're like, did that just happen?
Right. Because it was one of those truly collaborative, fun, when you have good synergy with a good partner, it all just works.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's kind of what happened. We sat down with Chip and Charlie, who are the owners of Innsbrook, and we told them our idea. We told them why we wanted it and why we felt passionate about it. And I mean, I think Sarah and I, to her point, we were so amazed because they immediately thought it made sense.
Yep, for sure.
And I love it. Just like when I met Amy, you know your people, and when you find the people that just get it.
Yep.
And it makes the partnership so fun.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So fast forward, that was in May. We had our groundbreaking October 30th.
Right.
So this is the first episode of 2022, and just a couple months ago we had our groundbreaking, and they started construction on this house.
Right. Yeah. And it's a tree house, you guys.
Yes.
It's a tree house.
The tree house is in the new development of Innsbrook called the Tree Houses of Talblick.
Right. Yeah, and it's basically on piers.
Yeah.
So it hovers like
in the trees.
Yeah. It has these two decks off the back. And so I'm just envisioning patients. This is a 1,500 square foot home in the treetops. And I'm just envisioning them waking up in nature and being able to go out on that deck and enjoy that view of the valley.
Yeah.
Charlie's always joking about how they need to be faster, but I think 6 months from the time of our first meeting to a groundbreaking is pretty darn fast.
At the end or middle of a pandemic, with supply chain issues, like no big deal.
Right. So Amy, this is interesting too, because you actually have a place out in Innsbrook, right? So you know firsthand what this community is like. Why do you think it's an ideal environment for patients to heal?
Oh, it's just such a beautiful place.
Which, before you dive into this, I have to tell you guys that Amy is in the habit on the weekends when she's there of sending me these most beautiful pictures. And it just made me so jealous before I was like now in this project. So now I feel like, okay, I can actually be a part of this. But before, she would send me these like gorgeous like streams and these fun events. And I mean, you made it look so much fun that I don't think there was any doubt in my mind.
She wants to move there now too.
I do.
Well, I'm just preparing you for what is to come.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So what do you love about it there?
I think about Innsbrook all week long. And so on Friday morning, I have the car packed and I'm ready to go.
Aww.
And I can tell you, when I pull through those gates, there's an instant sigh of relief. It's just this most magical feeling. It doesn't matter what's going on in my life, what kind of week I've had, what kind of week I've had at work, what kind of week I've had with my 2 teenagers. Everything instantly changes. There's just this instant relief. It's a beautiful place. It's a beautiful place to connect with your family, to sit around the campfire, to laugh, to reconnect, just, create memories.
I think what really like floored me about this is that when Chip and Charlie were like, yeah, we're in, my first thought was, well, how's the community going to, or, because they obviously needed to go to their community. And I'm thinking, well, they like the idea, but how is the community going to respond to the idea of a respite house for breast cancer patients? And it was like unbelievable.
Yeah, like with open arms.
Open
Yeah.
arms. And people were so excited about it and just immediately kind of welcomed us into the fold. And it was just such a non-issue. All of my fears were just completely like, unfounded, because so many in the community have been impacted by cancer themselves, or just because of the kind of community that's been fostered there. But they all wanted to help facilitate healing in our city.
Yeah.
And I thought that was unbelievable.
And I can speak that that's true. I mean, just being a member of the community, I've had several people stop by my home and talk about it, and they're very excited. They've been very receptive. It's just really exciting to see the community embrace that. It's exciting to see that on the Innsbrook property homeowners page. People are talking about it. They're excited. Can't wait to see what's happening. There were a lot of people there present at the groundbreaking ceremony. So that was really exciting to see. I think that people are really going to embrace this project. And like I said, people are still talking about it and will continue to talk about it. And I think that you guys are going to have a lot of support from the community.
Yeah, I know a lot of doctors and medical staff have places out there. I think the fact that it's only 45 minutes from the area hospitals is really helpful to them, just because they can get away to nature when they need it, but still be on call or close to patients as well, which I would imagine is a huge benefit. I know it played a part when I started thinking, okay, what if a patient needs something? What if they have some sort of medical need? We want to make sure that they're close enough to be able to get help. And so I would think that would be a huge benefit, not only to the people staying at the respite house, but those that also, have homes there to get away from the stressors. Because, we just did an episode prior to this about the stress of caregiving, but there's also, and Amy, you're going to be intimately aware of this, like compassion fatigue, right? A lot of people in social work and in healthcare have to really watch compassion fatigue, because dealing with chronically ill patients day in and day out has a very large impact on their health as well. And I don't know that as patients, we recognize that, because we're in our own crisis, right?
Yep.
And so I think it's very easy to forget that the medical community, they don't get a break from this. We're hoping that we get done with treatment and then, we're okay.
Yep.
But for a lot of those that are in the healthcare environment, day in, day out, all day long. And so they need respite too, don't you think?
For sure.
That's one of the things I emphasize with staff all the time when I check in with staff on a regular basis, just about the self-care piece. And when I have student interns, that's one of the first and foremost things I talk to them about is self-care. It's so important, because compassion fatigue, I've been there several times throughout my career, and you have to have that self-care.
We want to take care of our good doctors and nurses and our staff, because, them getting burnt out and leaving the field is not what we want.
Nope.
Unfortunately, a huge turnover in the medical field this past year. So it's really important. Like I said, I check in on a lot of folks here just to see how they're doing, because a lot of people don't have time for self-care because they're busy with their families, they're busy with their job, and they don't recognize the importance of doing that.
Yep. We talk about self-care a lot on the episode. It is crucial.
It is crucial.
Yeah.
It's very crucial. And Innsbrook is the perfect place for self-care.
All right. So before we close out this episode by explaining how you can support this initiative or contact Innsbrook if you are interested in purchasing a house, let's cut to our second sponsor.
Innsbrook Resort is a proud sponsor of the Faith Through Fire Respite House and the Besties with Breasties podcast. We know you work hard, but at Innsbrook, we also know you want to disconnect from what's stressing you out and reconnect with the important things in your life. Innsbrook makes it easy by offering lakefront living and vacationing less than 45 minutes from St. Louis. Vacation homes, golf, swimming, nature trails, fun events, and more. Take a drive and discover Innsbrook. Visit Innsbrook-resort.com.
Okay, and we're back. So, Amy, before we kind of dive into where people can find Innsbrook and how they can support us, what do you want women to know about the importance of respite or just investing in your mental health as you go through the cancer journey?
I think respite is just a great way for women just to, like I said, go and spend some time in nature with their families and to reconnect. Cancer diagnosis can create a lot of emotional distress. For many people that come to me, they're in shock, they're in disbelief. There's a lot of fear and anxiety, anger, guilt. They blame themselves, a lot of sadness, loneliness. Respite, like I said, gives people a chance to just step away from treatment and spend some time reconnecting with themselves and with their family and just take a break and take care of themselves, which is so crucial in their treatment. And also, I think it just really helps people improve their chance of recovery by taking care of themselves, because it's such a difficult time for patients and their families. So I'm just really excited for this project. I think it's going to improve the lives of so many women here in the St. Louis area. I just commend you guys for what you're doing. This is just amazing.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. That taking a break is so important for sure. If you would like to help support Faith Through Fire's mission and programming, please donate at our website at faiththroughfire.org. Or you can choose to purchase from our registry for the Respite House.
The Wespit?
The Wespit?
The Wespit House.
On our Facebook page or at myregistry.com. If you are looking for a primary residence or a vacation retreat, you can contact Innsbrook or for a tour, or for more information, you can call them at 636-928-3366, extension 9199.
Thank you, Amy. This episode's so important. We're heading into a new series on quality of life, and we wanted to interject this episode so that those listening understand that emotional well-being is the biggest predictor of their future happiness. So, invest in respite when you hit that wall is the takeaway, right? Like, get that time away, get out in nature. We're so excited that we're going to be neighbors at Innsbrook.
Yes.
I mean, so excited.
I have the bonfire waiting for you.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
I know.
And Amy, thank you so much for your commitment to helping your patients thrive. I see all the work you do for them, and it's truly inspirational.
For sure. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Until next time.
Until next time. Bye.
Bye. If you are a breast cancer survivor and you love Besties with Breasties, make sure you join our survivorship support network at faiththroughfire.org to gain access to exclusive episodes that are ad-free and uncensored.